If there's any stress, to release it with every breath. Recognizing that this moment of recognition, that we are here indeed for a time such as this. And with every breath, we give thanks for this moment. We give thanks for everything that is happening behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, the technology, the schedules we had to move around. We give thanks that we made it here today to join in consciousness, to expand and leave our marks on the planet as we stand for what we know it can be and for what it is. I am grateful for this day. I am grateful for what is going to be shared. I am grateful knowing that we will all leave here transformed, not just intellectually, but it will be a physical, visceral transformation when we walk in the truth of what we share here. I give thanks for Rev D, for her willingness to show up, to be an example, to allow herself to be used and called higher. And her example inspires us. Thank you, God, for this moment. Thank you, life. I give thanks. I know all is well, and I let it be. And so it is. Amen.
So it is.
Amen.
So it is.
From sea to shining sea. You're in Florida, and we're sitting here walking distance from the Pacific Ocean. It is all good.
Yes.
So, we've been covering some good ground. In our first session, we were talking about the fact that pain pushes until vision pulls. Pain pushes until vision pulls. And to learn how to lead with vision, not just talk about what it is that we don't want, but to put forth a vision of what we do want. Okay? Why is that important? Anybody? Why is it important that we always lead with vision?
We get what we think about, and if we think about the positive, we're going to get the positive. If we think about what we don't want, that's exactly what we're going to get.
Yes. Yes. Why else?
It helps us with moment-to-moment choices. As we keep our vision in mind, we can see which thing that's in front of us, which person, which opportunity is more likely to lead to the fulfillment of that vision.
Yes. And why is it important on a collective consciousness level to lead with vision? And I'm going to keep pushing you on this all the time, because we so personalize our spirituality, and we make it so much about individual growth, individual manifestation, my life, but that's not why we're here. We're here to take what it is that we know, amplify it, and understand ourselves as change agents. Okay? So, give me another reason from a collective consciousness standpoint why it is important that we lead with vision.
I think
Yeah, raise your hand, Vanessa.
I think it's important to remember whose vision we're leading with, period. You know, not who, like a God out there, but yes, a God out there and a God within of this collective consciousness, this collective vision, who the source, where the source really lies. It's not just with us individually. There is a collective reason for it all.
Okay, and Barbara, over here.
Because we're all one, and there's only one of us.
Yes. Why else?
Because we're moving in the direction of our attention, and our attention needs to be on the vision.
Okay. Why else? Yes.
We're in the process of creating care.
Yes. Why else?
Because
yes.
anything else is going against the flow of nature, that we're going against ourselves.
Yes. Shanti, why else?
A good vision attracts good people, and we cannot hold a vision by ourselves. Now look at us. Are we great coming together more and more every time? Eh?
Yes. 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 Okay. You lead with vision to influence. Okay. You lead with vision to influence. Vision becomes a rally call. Okay, everything is vibration. Everything is vibration. And look at it as a kind of a recalibration that's taking place. When you speak with vision, you are allowing everybody and everything to come up to meet you. Our challenge is not to duke it out with or try to squash anybody. Our challenge is to rise up to such a level that everything else has to come up to where we are. You feel the difference in that?
Oh yeah.
We're not trying to grab anybody or shake anybody or stop them from where they are, but we put out another compelling enough alternative vision. Its truth is so self-evident that it vibrates in the hearts of the listeners. Okay?
You get that, Nate?
That it vibrates. Oh, Nate does my tweets. Like Oprah says, stop, tweet, tweet. Yes, are you with me?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Okay, you have to think of yourself as like a drum major. You know, the one in the front. Okay, don't get mad at all the other drum majors and all the people that are following them. Okay, what are you putting out there that's worthy of being followed? What are you putting out there that's worthy of being followed? See, now we're going to be talking more today about conflict. So I'm trying to set this up within the context of conflict. As in the micro, so in the macro. The same things that happen on the collective level happen on a personal level. So let's just say, let's reel this in. Let's say it's your home. And let's say it feels like your home is kind of falling apart in terms of the interpersonal relationships. Let's say you are particularly disturbed that you feel like whomever it is that you're co-parenting with really isn't carrying their fair share of the burden and responsibilities of the co-parenting, and that the two of you aren't really in alignment either. Now, I know this is nothing that anybody would ever be able to relate to. So you can start off with, I'm really so tired of doing this all by myself. You know, it seems like you're never around. Everybody's just going all in their own direction, which factually could actually be the case. Okay? But you don't lead.
Come in the class with all your nipples showing. It's important.
You lead people with vision.
Look like you're feeling.
Vanessa, put yourself on mute. Okay. You lead people with vision. So if you were to start off with something more like, you know what? I think it's really important that this family starts spending some quality time together. That's a vision. And you know what? There's a good chance they actually might agree with you. There's a good chance that they might meet you straight off the bat. Because you've given something that you can both cling into. But if you start off with all the reasons why you're not doing it, then it's going to get off and funky. But if you can line up in the vision part, you can start moving somewhere. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So underneath it all, I find the same thing is true politically. That when you strip it all away, honestly, for the most part, people actually want to go in some of the same directions. They just have different ideas about what the so-called problem is. You know, different ideas about how to get from here to there. But if you can establish some kind of a common ground vision first, that's different than a sense of agreement about where things are, okay, but a vision of possibility that's bigger than both of us, or bigger than all of us. Okay, are you with me?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Pain pushes until vision pulls. And I'm not saying that pain doesn't have a place within the broad scheme of things. But what I am saying as an activist, deal with your own pain. Deal with your own pain. And don't let that be your factor as a leader. Okay? There's a comedian team, Key and Peele. And one of the things that they are excellent, they're really, really funny. They have loads of stuff on YouTube. And one of the things they're most famous for is imitating Obama. One of them plays Obama, and one of them plays his character Luther. That is Obama's anger translated. Okay, and Luther says everything that's on Obama's mind. It is hysterical. And Obama actually even had the nerve in the 2016 White House press conference, just like a month or two ago, to actually bring Luther on and do that real time. Really? And the first thing out of Luther's mouth is, oh, you better hold on to your lily white asses. And I'm like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. Okay? So think about this. Think about this. I'm not saying that there are not hard or critical things that need to be said. Get through the gates. Get through the gates. What are the Sufi gates? 1, is it true? 2, does it need to be said? 3, can it be said out of kindness? No. Can it be said out of love with kindness? Can it be said out of love with kindness? Let's distract you. Okay. So, I'm not saying that you don't deal with your stuff, but that's why you have rooms like this, for example. You have support systems. You have people you can go up on and blow your steam, do whatever it is that you have to do, so that then when you are in the presence, and it's necessary for you to start engaging, it's necessary for you to start having those conversations, you're not bringing your baggage with you. Does this make sense?
Yes.
You're not bringing your baggage with you. Okay? So your pain tells you what you need to heal so you can speak vision. Yes? Okay. We talked about, in the first session, about what authority do you stand upon? What authority do you stand upon to do this work? Why is that important for you to remember what authority you stand on? Somebody, anybody? God. But why is that? Why is it important that you know what authority upon which you stand when you're doing sacred activism?
So that you keep your ego out of it, that you know it's not you doing the work, it's what's being done through you.
That's a very good reason. That's good. Why else do you want to know what authority upon which you stand?
I think it's important to know the authority because that's your foundation. And if your foundation is shaky, the building is shaky. So if you go out there saying, I'm going to show someone a lesson, and that's the authority, I'll end up being shown a lesson. But knowing that, in my case, standing in the authority of the divine, that I know that I'm really here to be about this time, it gives, no matter what's going on, I can always dial back to my foundation. Like, I may be scared, but I know God's got me.
Yes. Okay?
And I'm tapping into a power that's so much bigger than I am.
Yes. And why is it important at all to know that you have authority? Why is that even important to know? when you're doing sacred activism work?
I think it brings clarity. It helps you be clear. I think it brings clarity to help you be clear about why you're doing what you're doing.
That's
as
part of
opposed
it.
to just following people because it seems like the thing to do.
That's good. Why else, Caroline?
Because people will challenge you, debate us.
Yes, you're getting onto it there. Okay? If you're not standing on your own ground, you're standing on somebody else's. Okay. If you're not standing on your own authority, you are reacting and responding to somebody else's. I'm going to say it again. If you're not standing on your authority, you are reacting and responding to somebody else's. You know, when you're up against doing sacred activist work, it's easy to get into doubt. It's easy to feel disempowered. It's easy to feel like, I don't know if I'm making a difference or if I can make a difference. It's easy to get into, well, what gives me the right? Not only the right to take action, but even the right to dare to dream that it could be different. Listen to that. To even dare to dream that it doesn't have to be this way. You have to give yourself permission. And too often, when we're doing this work and we don't know we have the authority, we're actually looking for the opposition to validate us. Listen to what I'm saying. We know how this works on a one-on-one. I'm feeling a little insecure. I don't think that I'm, really being all that perfect of a maid or blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking to see myself through your eyes. And I'm needing you to confirm me, even in the argument. I'm needing you to say something good about me so that I can feel good about me. Yes? Okay, now magnify that and supersize that on the political scene. And it really becomes no different. I'm not really sure who I am. So vicariously, I'm needing your affirmation to prove to me that I'm good enough, that I'm worthy enough. It's a trap. It's a trap. That's part of what's underneath, and that's being really misunderstood in the whole Black Lives Matter movement. It's a place of a self-affirmation. This place of a self-affirmation. That we got to go there first. We got to stand on this first before we can speak it out to anybody else with that vision. Are you with me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I can remember the days. I can remember the days when it used to matter to me what the homophobes thought. I can remember the days when I was busy trying to change their mind. Because I was still needing to feel good about myself. Okay? That I was doing the work to try to change them or something else so I could feel safer, knowing that they had shifted. But let me tell you something. If you are needing the other people's affirmation, they got you by the balls. They have you by the balls. And you know what? To stay in their position of power, they will never give it to you.
Amen.
Oh. To stay in their position of power, they will never give it to you. Because they know that's what you're seeking. They know that's what you want. It's like this line in my play, my spoken word piece, Upon the Dawning of This New Day. There's a line in there that says, do I dare care about you, to let you into my comfort zone, knowing that it shatters the moment that I concede that you matter? Do I care about you enough to let you into my comfort zone, knowing that it shatters the moment I affirm that you matter? So you hear me talk about this from the pulpit. You don't go seeking equality. You start with equality. You don't go looking for people to give you equality. You start with equality and demand that the laws conform to the equality that already is there. See? That's how we won marriage equality. We didn't win marriage equality saying we want the right to be married. We won marriage equality saying our relationships are marriages. That's what they are. And that as marriages, they are equal to any heterosexual marriage. And because they are fundamentally already equal, you cannot treat them like they are not. Can you feel that? These weren't strangers off the street suing, asking for the permission to be married. These were couples who've been together for decades, saying this is what it is. Okay? Black folks in the civil rights movement, they weren't marching to be equal. They weren't marching for the right to vote. They have the right under the Constitution. What they were marching for is take away the restrictions that are keeping my God-given right away from me. Does this make sense?
Oh, yes.
You feel how different it is when you were showing up with a question, or you were showing up with a doubt, and you were somehow trying to get these people to give you something that you feel you don't have. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Do I have any witnesses in the house?
Amen. Yeah. Yes.
Anybody want to give a testimony?
Well, I will, but I would also protect the identity of the innocent. I had an experience this morning and really was trying to figure out, why do we keep getting in this loop and back and forth and back and forth? What you're saying is, I see for myself that I was looking for permission from her. I was looking for confirmation of how I see or what I see that is right. And there's, what you just said is, of course, as you've always been saying, it's not just what's going on in the world, is a reflection of what's going on in our world. And so for me, I see how in other areas of my life where I'm looking for permission. And I think that's part of unconsciously, that's why I haven't fully stepped out there. I hear the call, I feel the call, I wake up every day, but something in me saying, you ain't ready yet. So there's this eternal conflict. I want to go out there, but the voice say, you need to get some things together before you step out there, or you get eaten alive. So it's really making a lot of sense and it's hitting home for me. So thank you. Yes. Nobody's ready. You get ready on the journey. Listen to what I'm saying. Yes. It's like the Exodus story. No one entered the promised land that was enslaved in Egypt. They all died on the journey. The you that enters the promised land is the you born on the journey. You can't get free in captivity. You got to get on the journey. You will become who you are in the process of the becoming. You don't wait.
No, wait. Do I have another witness? Yeah, Julie. Julie, unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What I'm noticing in my life is that when it comes to my spirituality, when it comes to what I'm teaching, when I'm teaching like Core 1, I'm standing from a place of authority, it doesn't matter to me whether I get agreement from anybody else.
Bingo.
I say to people, prove it to yourself. But when it comes to social justice work, I have to admit that I have a hidden agenda, and I want you to join me. And when I don't get somebody to join me, that's where I get into conflict, and I still have so much work to do. Because I think I'm standing in authority, but there's this hook there. I'm not. It's different.
Yeah. What you're standing in, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. In that moment, you're not standing in authority, you're standing in attachment.
Yes.
That's not authority.
Yes.
Standing in attachment.
That is true.
At that moment. We're going to talk about that and how that relates to conflict in a second. How about somebody in here? Do I have a testimony or two?
I would really like to say something. So I have been a craniosacral therapist for a very long time, and even in my business brochures, I'm standing in someone else's authority. I see it now. I talk about what my work is not. And what my work is to take away the restrictions that keep everyone from their health and wholeness. I start by believing they're already healthy and whole, and I'm not standing in that authority. And I get it. I need to rewrite my brochures. I know what I'm doing now.
Oh, amen. Give us your name again.
I'm Judy Noon.
All right. Amen. That's what I'm talking about. Caroline, did you want to?
I was just thinking about it this morning. I have this crazy, I've been working on this crazy project about getting money to fund a project to educate people about environmental sustainability. I'm a tax accountant. I just know some people. And I know that the vision is environmental sustainability is a truth, is that it's something we need to do to get into balance with our planet, and it's not really arguable. So I feel like I have authority because it's right, yet I have no credentials. I just have this I dare to believe that it might be possible to do something. And I asked myself on the beach this morning, who am I? Who am I to dare to try to make a difference? And then I think, and who am I not to try? Then who are you to not even try? So I'm just having this conversation about this subject.
Exactly.
Who am I and who am I not to even try?
Exactly. See, here's the thing. The way that you keep oppression going is through the collusion of the oppressed.
Yeah.
Woo.
Keep collusion going by you keep oppression going by the collusion of the oppressed. It's called internalized oppression. It's internalized oppression. So all of the wondering that everybody that's out there, are you good enough? Can it be you? Do you have the right to do it? You think that stuff. So you don't even show up. You don't have to worry about divvying up the pie because you don't even think you deserve a slice. So you're giving them the pie. You ain't even supposed to have a piece of the pie. It's like, no, it's undoing it. It's undoing it. It's It's learning how to have a greater sense of authority. It's learning how to have a greater sense of ability to do it. So what I have done to, and it's not like it's not an ongoing battle. It's an ongoing battle. But I check myself on it. I'll check myself on it. So say, for example, when I was in corporate, you know, I would ask myself the question like, what would I do if I wasn't gay? Back in the 80s. Well, if I wasn't gay, I'd take my partner to the Christmas party. Okay, I'm gonna take my partner to the Christmas party. You know, what would I do in this situation if I wasn't a woman? Well, I'd probably speak up and ask for that raise or whatever. Okay, then I'm gonna speak up and ask for the raise. Are you with me? Just noticing like all of these different places where I was like this, you know, what, as a minister, okay, what would I do in this situation if I was really one of them? If I didn't think that I was on the outskirts. I remember a few years or so ago, I was doing a funeral of one of my in-laws in Missouri. And it was this big Baptist church. And there was a lot of commotion and we started late. There was a lot of stuff going back and forth. And I didn't realize it was about me. And that's why it was late, is that I wasn't supposed to be on the pulpit. They didn't let women on the pulpit. Now, I had been asked to be on the pulpit by the wife of the deceased. And she wasn't gonna have it any other kind of way. It wasn't their church though. It was a bigger church that held like 600-800 people or something like that. And when I finally caught wind of what was going on, I had this decision to make. Part of me wanted to not be a center of conflict. There was a part of me that was willing to say, you know what, this is a funeral. This is their house. This is obviously like tearing this family apart. And you know, I ain't got to grandstand like that. But I could see the wife of the deceased, like, don't you dare. Really, don't you dare. And I realized in that moment, I was like the next generation. I was this stand up. I wasn't able to, but you stand up. You have it, you have like the right to do this. And I just like took a deep breath. And it's like, okay, what would I do if I didn't think maybe I shouldn't be up here? And I was just as gracious. And the pastor wound up sitting right next to me on the pulpit. There was a line of us that spoke. And I was just as nice. No animosity or whatnot in my heart. I was honoring the deceased. And to be honest with you, I thought in my mind, there's this phrase that's near and dear to the African American community. Just one more river to cross. And it comes from this story. And I'll give you the short version of the story, but the short version of the story are these slaves. And that they're running to freedom. And the dogs are chasing them. And they get to a ledge. And they only got one or two things to do. They jump to freedom, or they go back into slavery if the dogs don't eat them first. They hold hands, and before they jump, they just shake their heads and go, it's just one more river to cross. So you cannot let whatever that is, do I have the right? Do I have the authority? These people know more. Just let that go. Let that go. I'm not saying that you can be the judge and the jury of them and all of that. What I am saying is that you have a right to have a vision. You do not need permission to have a vision. You don't need authority or anybody's validation to have a vision. Be willing to stand up. You with me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we talked last week about the fire triangle and how there are these different elements that have to be there. And I'm actually not going to go into that now. I'm going to come back to that the next time because I want to stick on this a little bit longer. So, Julie, you still there? Okay. I want to go back to your story for a moment. Okay? And share it again and say what was starting to happen for you as you were engaging.
I didn't want to argue. I don't want to fight my point. I find that when someone is not in agreement with me, I want to give up. I don't necessarily want to give up my work. I want to walk away from them. I want to separate from them.
Okay.
And there's a self-righteousness in it for me.
Okay. So what statement does that walk away make?
I no longer want to engage. I don't want to stay connected to you. And yet it's the opposite of what I'm actually trying to do.
And what is the message to that person when you walk away? What is the unstated statement that walking away gives?
That I'm not actually standing in authority. That I'm giving a message that I may not believe what I'm talking about, or that that I'm not standing in my vision. Because if my vision is about oneness and inclusivity and healing and wholeness, then that's not what my action shows.
Okay. When you're in that heated place and you walk away, what do you think goes through the mind of the person that you just walked away from?
Well, I can think that what would happen for me if somebody walked away from me is they didn't care, I think I would probably feel disrespected, that my opinion doesn't matter to them.
Uh-huh. And what do you imagine? And what do you imagine they think of themselves?
That they're right.
Uh-huh. And because they're right, they are.
They have power.
Mm-hmm.
They won.
And
They're affirmed.
better than.
Better than, yeah.
You hear me say all the time, the issue is supremacy.
Yes.
It's supremacy. Okay? There's this battle that starts to come on when we start to get into these conflictual situations. Thank you, Julie, for putting yourself out there like that. So I asked everybody to read In Your Deepest Intent, which is the second volume, my Letters from the Infinite series, a letter called Conflict Resolution. There's a lot of good stuff in that. But there's one point in particular that I want to talk about in our remaining time here. And that is, differences do not cause conflict. There is nothing about a difference that causes conflict. I think that this thing is the best thing, you think that's the best thing. They're just opinions. There's no conflict. At what point does it become conflict?
Polarization.
Polarization.
Attachment.
That's when it becomes conflict. And you know what's the most amazing thing to me? I don't know about you, but I get the craziest when I'm in an argument with somebody and we don't even disagree. And we don't even disagree. But there's something else that's underneath there that's otherness. There's something else that's polarizing there. But maybe we don't even disagree. We both agree we should go to the movie. Yeah, you know, we should go to the movie. You know, we should go to the early movie. Yeah, well, if we go to the early movie, you know, there's going to be a lot of traffic. Yeah, but we should go to the early movie anyway because we'll be home too late. Well, yeah, but if we're home too late, and it's like, but we don't like disagree, but we're just, are you with me? It doesn't become a conflict until you polarize. It's not the difference that is the conflict. The conflict itself is the polarization. To me, that's the most brilliant concept in that whole letter. The conflict is not the differences, the conflict is the polarization. So what winds up happening for too many of us in our conflict resolution techniques, we're busy trying to listen to the other people, we're busy trying to find the win-win, we're busy trying to mitigate the differences. But if the structure itself is still oppositional, then it's just going to be something else. It kind of reminds me of when I was doing a lot of corporate counseling, a lot of corporate work, and it's different between like staff and management, or labor and, you know, the administration. The construct itself is conflictual. The construct itself is this either or otherness, the bargaining tables and everything else. So it's just going to be different issues. But there is already built into the game, we're not going to agree. That's already in there. I'll give you an example. My first really like big corporate job, I used to work for a bank, I used to work for Security Pacific, but my first big corporate thing was with Procter & Gamble. And I sold bar soaps, household cleaning products, and fabric softeners. Now, our job was to go into the big chains, the big retails. They're already buying the product, so you're not like selling them something new. But our job was to push the volume. You push the volume. We would flood the market with coupons, with new products. We'd fight for shelf space, build new displays. Everything was about volume, volume, volume. So I was told to play the game this way, that you go in, you tell them they need twice as much as they need, they cut it in half, and that's how you get the sale. So we have a record of everything that's done, if they were out of stock, how much they bought, and all the rest of that. So this is circa, what is this now? It's 76, right? I am the first African-American female on the whole sales force of Procter & Gamble at that point. So, we're back we're in the stock rooms and all the rest of that. We had nothing but men everywhere. And that's some grimy stuff back there in those stock rooms. And, they see me coming and, nobody wants to see the sales reps, whatnot anyway. And with Procter & Gamble, there were 6 divisions at the time, so they were always bombarded by one of us. So let's just say I thought they needed 30 cases. That's what they would actually sell. So I'd go in and say, I think you need 30 cases. No, I only need 15. 15. There's just like something that's not right about them with that. Like, they know that's love. How many you say I need? 30. Well, they can't figure this out because they want to do battle with me. And well, how many do I usually order? I said, well, you usually order 28. And, you know, we had to sell last time. It looks like you're out of stock, like for a whole week before we did the thing. I said, you know, 30, it's probably going to be okay. And you could tell this moment. And then when they finally agreed, there was just this suspicion. And I made sure they pushed out the 30. Okay? And the next week, the next time, how many you need? I don't know, 33 maybe. 17. Then after a while, we start being on opposite teams. Are you with me? After a while, we were actually like working together, and I became one of the top salespeople. How? By actually telling the truth. Okay, by actually telling the truth. But the point is that I didn't polarize. I didn't go into this us versus them. As long as there's us versus them, like Howard Thurman says, nobody ever wins a fight. As long as there's an us versus them. So I don't care whether it's at home or whether it's the political scene. Don't get into the us versus them. So I said before to you, Julie, that you weren't standing in authority, you were standing in attachment. I find that there are these three things that get us into that place of the polarization, that get us into the otherness. And I use the little acronym of AILS. Like, what ails the situation? AIL. A, attachment. 2, identity. 3, limitation. Attachment. That our opinion, we're just attached to it. Because that's all we can see. That's all we know. We think we're right. And we're not willing to, you know, it's like this, it's like this, okay? But there's always something else. You hear us say all the time that there are at least two sides to every story. Okay, and then there's the truth. So you have a vision, but you can't go in thinking you already know how it's supposed to unfold. You can't go in thinking that you know what's right and you have it all together. You have a vision, but in that vision, it has to be big enough for the other people to be able to have some input into what that's going to look like or how that happens. Okay. So if you come in with a vision and all your plan, that ain't a vision no more. That's an agenda. Okay. If you got a vision and all the plan, that's not a vision. That's an agenda. So your vision has to be big enough for the other people to not only be able to see themselves in it, but help craft it. To help create it. Does this make sense? Yes. Okay. So if you have too much attachment to it, then you haven't left any room for that. The other thing that gets us into the otherness is identity. Identity. Where we are so attached to the view that to disagree with my view is to disagree with me. I have so personalized whatever this is that I can't make the distinction anymore. And it's the same thing vice versa. There's not a you and an opinion. Your opinion is you. And if I disagree with your opinion, I disagree with you. And if I don't have any room in my heart for that opinion, I don't have any room for you. Yeah. I reduce you to your view. I reduce you to your opinion. How many of us do this in our personal lives? How many of us do this in our personal life? I disagree with you about something, or something's happened or whatever. There stops being a you. When I see you, all I can think about is this thing that's between us. Are you with me? Our attachment, our identity, or limitation. The limitation is when we just lack the capacity to believe that there could actually be something different. See, with attachment, I have an idea and I think I'm right. I may acknowledge the fact that there are a lot of other different views, but you're just wrong. Mine's just better. Okay. In identity, I am my view. You are your view. To not agree with me, if not agree with my view, is to not agree with me. So what really is at stake then is, so in the first one with attachment, it's kind of this view that if it's not this, it's not going to work. If it's not this, it's going to be somehow less than. I've got the superior view, and anything that happens that's other than this is somehow going to be inferior. Okay. That's that supremacy thing. Okay. And the second one, identity, is I'm now fighting for my right to be. I'm now fighting for my right to exist. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, I'm feeling dismissed, not valued, not appreciated, unseen, not a part of it, marginalized, whatever. So I keep fighting harder for my opinion, but what I'm really fighting for isn't my opinion. Once again, I'm fighting for my validation. I'm fighting for my inclusion. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get here. And in this last one here about the limitation, is that sometimes we're holding on to what we believe, we're holding on to that, and we polarize when somebody doesn't agree with us because we just absolutely lack the capacity to even imagine that there could be anything else, that there could be another way. Just, that's it. That could be anything. You could be arguing with your sister about whether your other sister married somebody, this person or not. And in your mind, if that marriage goes through, it is just like doom and gloom forever. There's no in between. It's just, that's just the most rotten thing, and you're stuck. And that's when you're closed-minded and can't see something else. It's attachment, identity, and limited thinking that gets us in to the polarization. So if you want to shift, rather than getting so stuck on the differences and thinking that your charge is to get the other person to agree with you, deal with your ale. If you deal with that first, you will create the environment and the room to be heard and to be dealt with in some other kind of way. Let go of your attachment. Let go of your personalization of it and impersonalizing them. See a real person first, not just an opinion, and let go of the idea that there's no other way, or there are no other outs, or there's nothing else that can possibly happen. See, that's what makes the polarization. And it is the polarization that makes the conflict, not the differences. comments. Can you read some of the stuff that the people are writing in?
They were just, it was much earlier.
Okay.
Julie commented and then she spoke.
All right. Anybody else comments?
No, just Vanessa was saying goodbye and they said goodbye.
Okay. All right.
He's still there.
So
they said love and blessings.
I can say, I feel like what you're talking about is really the answer to what I've been struggling with the last, well, for a while now, but the last 24 hours has been intense. And as I shared earlier, is this constant back and forth with a family member. And I have just been asking, what is it, God? I need to know. When sometimes we don't even disagree, like you said. It's like we actually going towards the same thing, but somehow there's this energy. And so everything you're saying today is just like answered prayer. Now I just, I'm standing in the truth that I will apply it.
Okay.
And release my identification with not agreeing with my view is a disapproval of who I am. I think that's really, that goes deep.
Mm-hmm.
It goes into that seeking other people's permission, not knowing that I have the authority to, to just be who I am and see what I see from my own point of view. And so there's been a lot of confusion, which I'm getting a lot of clarity to now.
Very good. Very, very good. Any comments in there? Barbara, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I work with children a lot.
Speak up loudly.
I work with children a lot and helping them to solve problems and how to problem solve. Just a second. And I always tell them when we're brainstorming solutions that they have to come up with at least 3. If there's only 2, then they're missing at least 1. And I also say, and the 3rd one can be a bad idea. So it's like Barbara's 3-option rule.
All right. I'll hear from you, and I want to hear from a couple of people who haven't shared yet. You want to say something?
I just wanted to say that hearing your story, really, I feel such a weight lifted off my heart. I'm sure it's because it's my story too, but I feel you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it.
Right. So any people who haven't chimed in yet or said anything that want to say something?
I'm not sure how to do this. I'm not sure how to do this.
There you go. There you go. We're listening.
Is that me? Hi. Thank you very much for this. What I realize is I spend a lot of time in that conversation with myself. I polarize. It's like the critic in me or the judge in me does the same thing with the optimist in me, or, the visionary, ends up with this, I don't know, the judge that always finds me lacking, always finds me less than, always finds me wrong in some way. And then I get caught in the dynamic of, I can't step out there until I've got it perfect. Mm-hmm. Because then if I'm not ready to come up against that conflict, mm-hmm. then it's all going to fall apart and it's going to prove the ultimate wrong, which is I don't know what I'm talking about and I don't have, I'm not smart, I'm not this, I'm not that. All of which I know are not true, mm-hmm. but in that moment, it is true. Because I don't know what to say, I start crying or I get upset and all of that just keeps me locked up. Mm-hmm. And so this is very helpful, the ale. And so I can do that homework as I go out, before I go out.
Yes.
I am so drawn right now as a Caucasian woman to be in sincere, serious action. And You know, I love hearing the word supremacy. I've been saying it, you know, white supremacy 850 million times every day to myself, just to get over the immediate shift that happens in me when I say it, because it has been so used to define this radical fringe, which is just a deterrent. It's just a deflection, just like racism. To me, the word racism is just a deflection to put white supremacy, you know, back under the sheets, as it were. And it's you know, it's finding a way to have that conversation that is being so difficult for me.
Yes.
Because I am so passionate about it, and I feel so well, I'm terrified. I'm terrified about what's happening in our country right now.
You know what? That's good though.
It is.
And I'd like to offer you one of my favorite quotes. It's on a big frame thing in the staff bathroom here, and a watercolor calligraphy of it that was given to me for my birthday a few years ago. It's a quote by Audre Lorde, who was an African-American out lesbian. She was the poet laureate of New York. And she said, "When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid."
Right.
When I dare to be powerful, and I love that definition of power, to use my strength in the service of my vision, it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. I'm not asking you not to have fear. I'm asking you, don't be feared.
Right.
Spirit led us say. You can have fear, just don't be feared.
Right.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Sari, and I'm calling from Santa Rosa, Northern California.
Very good. Well, I welcome you, and I would encourage everybody to take a look at the archives. Yes. Okay, the last couple of weeks, because I think that's material in there that will really, really help. All right. As we close down here, I've been doing some inner guidance about this. At first, I had set up a few introductory sessions before I started in on a full-on course. And I'm being led now to keep this up a little while longer as introductory sessions and keep getting kind of like a larger, broader audience for this. I promise when we get into the course, you'll actually get physical handouts and, and papers and all this stuff written and all of that. But just a little poll, if we were to continue on a Monday, Wednesday schedule for the next week or two, would that work for you, noon on Monday and Wednesday? Okay. And if it doesn't, do it archived, but I'm really being called to say to keep this up before we close it off to just specific registered people, to keep doing this for a little while longer. Does that make sense? Is that fair enough? Okay. Something tells me before we go to check in on you, Bob. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. This resonates with me. I appreciate everyone's courage and showing up and speaking their stories. And I guess I just had a Facebook interaction this morning where I could tell I was coming from a place of attachment with my the position I wanted to put out there, and it was weighing me down. So I feel this opens me up, and I can come from a place of when you said you see the other person first before the opinion.
Yes.
I think that's going to help me a lot.
Very good. Thank you. Is that Destiny Muhammad?
Say again?
No, I'm talking to, I see a name on there that says Destiny joining us.
Yes, I'm here. I don't have my video on.
Is that Destiny Muhammad?
It's Destiny Watson.
Oh, Destiny Watson. Okay, where are you calling from, Destiny?
Sacramento, Elk Grove, California.
Oh, very good. Very, very good. I'm loving this.
Does she stream sometimes?
Do you live stream with us sometime?
I have never, no. This is the first time I've actually logged on. I happen to have been on a business conference, and then I got a Facebook request to join, and my friend had told me about you and said some very positive things. And so I was like, okay, well, let me just, join in and hear what's going on. And so I'm loving it so far. It's good.
This is great. This is great. I want to appreciate you joining us. And I'm just loving this. I am really, really loving this. Let's everybody stand. At least those of you in the room stand. those of you who are there, you can sit down. But we're gonna do. Can you kind of pan us all here, kind of like a little love circle here?
I can.
All right. Okay. We are going to sing. Okay. Now this is a favorite song around here. It's a Karen Drucker song. I give myself permission. Okay? And the words are, I give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. I give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. And I want to invite everybody to join us. And there are also some people who have called in. Yeah, I want to make sure, do we know their names? Do we know who it is? There's somebody who's 5'10", 6'10".
9507.
Can you tell us your name? Okay, how about 323-206?
I have 323-506.
Okay.
It's Andrea.
All right, we're gonna sing, I give myself permission. I give myself permission to be myself permission to live passionate and free. I give myself permission to be alive. Myself permission to live passionate and free. Give myself permission to be all I can be. Give myself permission to live passionate and free. Give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. We take this consciousness and multiply it. All right, everybody. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you, Reverend Deborah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you clap, it destroys the sound.